Hello, welcome to At U2 Podcast, episode number 82. We're talking all things U2, in particular the U2 tour that happens to be happening in an hour from now as we record anyways. They'll be taking the stage in Chicago for night 2, so you could sort of think of us as your opening act if you happen to be watching or listening right now. With me on this episode, I have got Sherry. Welcome back to the show, Sherry.
Hello. Am I falling from the sky yet?
And Matt McGee.
Hello.
And Mason.
I'm falling for you, too. It's a Kobe Calais, everybody.
I like her a lot. She's awesome.
All right.
She's great. She's really great.
I can't say I know a ton of songs, but, you know.
I know that one.
Welcome to the I'm Confused About Who We're Talking About podcast.
Playcast, episode 1.
Okay. You and Matt, the millennial and Matt, going on. All right, so as we record this, of course, like I said, U2 is going to be going on in about an hour, so we'll stop the live recording anyways around that time. You can maybe hang out here on the Twitch stream if you're so inclined. Twitch.tv/goodstuff_FM is where you can find us when we stream out. And click the little heart thing above there, and you can follow and get notified when we go live. But we're, as always, if you're brand new to this podcast, this is your first one you're tuning in for, we're going to be talking spoilers. So we're not going to censor what we talk about as far as set lists and what happens in the show, anything like that. So if you are like me and you have a concert coming up in 4 shows, I think it's 2 weeks from today in Montreal is when I'll finally get to actually experience the Experience in Innocence tour, and don't want to be spoiled by that, don't listen any further. Stop now and listen later. You can also get updated on U2 News by listening to the At U2 News Brief on your Alexa, Google Home, or something else devices. Is there any other devices? What other smart devices?
You can ask Siri to play it.
Oh. Well, why don't I just do that, and then we can skip the podcast.
And Matt will also personally call your home phone and just tell you all the news. That's my favorite.
Just like the Innocence and Experience album, or the Innocence Songs of Innocence album, it'll get dropped right into your phone, except Matt will just deliver it right to your mailbox. And
we
also,
make house calls.
the U2, we've got some at U2 tour wallpapers for your mobile device to check out if you're curious. Matt, you had I can't remember if this was on the podcast or afterwards, you said someone from U2's somewhere was like impressed with your screenshot of the...
Yes,
one of our episode.
One of the I won't reveal any names, but one of the band's associates that I bumped into in Las Vegas. We were having a conversation about upcoming tour dates, and we couldn't remember when a certain show was, so I busted out my phone and I said, "Look what we got." And this person said, "Oh, I got that too," and they had it on their phone, and I was like, "Wow, that's really cool." So yeah, it was just like, woo!
All for free from @u2.com.
Exactly.
All right, in recent U2 news, just in case you weren't listening to the U2 news brief, Bono and Edge were on the Ellen Show last week now, right? And May 15th episode, I think it was. What did you guys think? Did you watch it? You saw it? How did you think of their acting in the bits?
I suddenly had a hankering for a lettuce bar.
Yes. What was that? What was that about the lettuce bar?
Well, she sent them to find out what was in the lettuce bar or something.
The salad bar, for God's sake.
Yeah, Ellen.
No, they said
Ellen
lettuce
wanted
bar, but
to
it's a
know
salad
exactly
bar.
what was in the salad bar, and Bono kept calling it the lettuce bar.
That's right, the lettuce bar.
But
that was cool.
My favorite part of that whole bit was when Edge was ordering drinks at the Starbucks, and Bono turns around and takes off the sunglasses where the sunglass display was, and starts, running his fingers through his hair and grooming himself. I thought that was great.
Yes, yeah. It was fun. I like how Ellen definitely doesn't at least give them a lot of. She's willing to poke fun at them anyways, and they had fun with her, obviously, in making fun of her making fun of them in front of all her writers and things like that. So. Very good. That's on that U2.com if you haven't seen it, on Ellen's YouTube channel as well. Larry Mullen is playing an actor, Larry Mullen. Where's my sound clip?
Playing an actor.
Somebody did like Man on the Train. Ugh.
don't have my. Oh, here it is.
I definitely see myself acting more as a musician in the future.
No, he's being played by an actor in the Bohemian Rhapsody movie. What's the story there, Sherry, or whoever threw that in the?
Well, Sherry, if you know, I'm the one that put it in. There's somebody tweeted this. One of the guys over in Dublin, I think, tweeted this. You may know or you may not know, but later this year, there's a movie coming out called Bohemian Rhapsody, which is the story of Queen, kind of focused on Freddie Mercury. And so there's going to be, all kinds of different stuff going on, but there's, you've got the list of cast members of who's playing other, different musicians. And there's some dude that I'd never heard of, an actor playing Larry Mullen. And I just thought that was interesting that somehow in the Queen story, Larry Mullen is going to make an appearance. And I imagine it's got to be related to Live Aid. That would be the biggest kind of thing where Freddie Mercury and U2 had a cross paths kind of thing. Yeah.
Huh.
So yeah, anyway, I thought that was interesting.
Very cool. Yeah, that's the guy, the actor. He's in that other show with the thing.
TBH. When I saw the actor's face, I thought, wow, that looks like Mason Merritt.
I totally can't think of his name now. In Mr. Robot. That's
Matthew
Houston.
No, well,
he was in.
It's Freddie Mercury. Yeah. Sorry, it's Freddie Mercury.
Oh no, Remy.
Yeah, that's Remy Malek.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Is Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, I watch too many movies, and I haven't seen this guy Matthew Houston in anything. But he does not look like me because he is handsome, and I am not.
Aww.
Your cats think you're handsome.
They do. But no, that is cool. I was kind of out on this movie because of something that they're omitting, but now I might check it out. I don't know. I'm not a big Queen fan, so if I can bring earplugs, then I'll be fine. But if not, then I'll just hang out until Larry shows up, and then I'll bail.
Yeah, I can't imagine he has too many lines in it, but we'll see. Sherry, you were tweeting about this and kind of excited. Sirius XM adding a U2 Experience channel starting June 1st.
Yes.
Comments there?
Yes. Along the lines of the Beatles and Pearl Jam and Grateful Dead and Springsteen and Billy Joel, U2 is finally joining the ranks of having their own special channel. Right now, Channel 30 has Fleetwood Mac. And so June 1st, that'll transfer over to the U2 Experience 24/7 for the 30 days of June. They're going to be playing everything from their 40-year catalog. What we don't know is if they will have any other live shows mixed in besides the replay of the show at the Apollo. Like on the Pearl Jam channel, they will have whole concerts. And same thing with Springsteen. So that would be really ideal if they could, drop entire shows besides the studio songs for that month. So once again, that starts June 1st, goes through June 30th, Channel 30 on your Sirius XM dial. And the Sirius XM only exclusive concert at the Apollo Theater will be broadcast on the Howard Stern channel. That's channel 101 with Jenny Eliscu and friend of the band's Bill Flanagan doing all the pre-show festivities leading up to that. So the show is on the 11th, but it's not airing until what was it? The
13th
at 5 p.m. So when it airs, it'll be probably edited, knowing Bono, because the band are perfectionists. So once again, it is invite only. Sirius XM subscribers have to have been subscribed to the service as of, I think it's April 28th in order to qualify. And you just go to SiriusXM/U2 for all the information and to put in for your raffle, and hopefully you get picked for 2 tickets.
Nice.
Fingers crossed.
So, yeah, fingers crossed. But that runs up against many people flying over to Belfast for the U2 conference. So
not me. I am clear.
Will let us know.
If you win, then you go to Belfast. I'll go to New York.
You can dress up like Sherry.
It's a happy problem to have if I get selected, but I doubt it. Knowing that I haven't been picked for the putt-putt, for the biking with Bono, I don't even want to go down the whole list of all the contests that I've lost, but I'm just going to rank that one right up there too, because I'm sure I will.
All right.
Which reminds me, one other contest for those in the Massachusetts and New Hampshire area. Mix 104.1 in Boston is giving away a week at a Cape Cod beach with a special musical guest of a particular Irish rock band coming to play at your beach house for one afternoon. All that information can be found on mix1041.com. You have to be a resident of Massachusetts or New Hampshire in order to qualify, and you need to register by June 12th.
That's
Unacceptable.
Geographic profiling or something. I don't know. There's something wrong with
is. Chris, when are they going to do the play in your igloo in Saskatoon contest?
Igloo you two? I don't know. No.
This is the 2 months of the year where there's
too,
there's no igloo. I'm actually back in the house right now, so I'll remind you very politely.
Let's submit
Quick question on the Apollo show.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I just wonder about the Apollo show. Do we, for the listeners out there, do we know when people will find out if they got tickets or not? Like, is there? Because I know the concert's June 11th, and that is fastly approaching.
I don't know. I think all registrants have to be registered by June 5th.
Wow, that's a quick turnaround.
That date rings a bell. Well, they're anticipating that it'll be locals who will be going to it. So.
Right.
They'll probably
I haven't gotten a response from the folks at Sirius as to when folks are going to be finding out.
You'll probably find out when you get the 2019 U2.com gift.
Does
You
it
have
come
to
with a
try
time
new
machine?
things to keep the relationship fresh.
Thank you, The Edge. I'm a tentative +1 for fellow U2er Brian at U2er Brian, and I'm considering whether or not I want to give up one of my New York City tickets, one of my NYC Madison Square Gardens for it. So I don't know. Am I crazy for doing that, or because I can only make 2 shows really in the city?
Well, it's going to be a different set list for the Sirius XM event.
Very
like
different.
The Roxy back in 2015. We're going to
I'm using that as my barometer. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're going to get a different set list. They're going to play Angel Harlem. I mean, how can they not play Angel Harlem at the Apollo?
They're in Harlem, right?
Yeah. So it'll be a completely different vibe of a show.
Yeah, I would go with the +1 if given the choice.
Yeah, given the choice, I would choose the contest.
Yeah, only 1,500 in the building, Mason. So go for it.
Yeah.
Really? Well, I'm like half of that, so I can fit in.
And finally, they also U2 won a Billboard Music Award of the top touring top rock tour category. Sorry, U2 wins 2. I think I said that, but maybe I said it wrong. Top rock tour and the top touring artist category, which is for back last year's Joshua Tree Tour 2017, beating out Coldplay and Guns N' Roses. So welcome back to 1994 in a sense, I guess. Coldplay wasn't around then, but and then Ed Sheeran and Bruno Mars as well on the list. So it's hard to imagine that the band is that excited or worries or thinks about those kind of stuff that much. Do you think?
I think those 2 categories were based mostly on sales and earnings and stuff. So, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, we just mentioned hearing because we're a U2 podcast.
That's right.
For y'all to
trying to be, we are absurdly comprehensive according to GQ. So we're just trying to live up to that.
Nice little name drop.
Yeah.
They didn't. They actually mentioned we have a podcast too, right? Didn't they? Or I think they said something.
They're planning a whole feature on you. So I mean,
no, the podcast is the next quarter, Chris. They're Gentlemen's Quarterly, so they got to spread it out a little bit.
Drop of megalomania, touch of generosity, dash of self-promotion.
All right.
Exactly.
Let's go to the inbox. You can submit questions and comments. Sure.
Wasn't it the British version of GQ that Adam has a writing gig for anyway?
Yeah, where did that?
Yeah, he hasn't done that in a long time, has he?
It was like a one-time. There's a bunch of stuff in his draft folder, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, to the inbox.
Come on,
Sorry,
Clayton.
Chris.
To the inbox.
Clayton, I need
So
you
you can tweet out questions or comments for the show if you use hashtag AskAtU2, and I think there's something in my Pepsi or something. To send comments, questions into the show, and at CK Onans said, "Hi, can you pronounce correctly my username?" And I guess no, I can't. So there you go. But they also asked, "Is there any news regarding the video of the Joshua Tree Tour 2017?" I guess it won't come out during the EI tour. Have we heard? We never heard. Have you heard anything? Any dates? Any rumors? Anything? Nothing. No.
I would assume it's
It'll
later
go
this
the
year.
way of the documentary.
Chisula says,
It'll be
by the way, for the Apollo, the drawing will be held on or around June 4th. Thanks, Chisula.
There we go.
Grazie.
Live follow-up
Back
in the
to-
chat room.
Back to Joshua Tree.
So yeah, basically,
No.
we don't know nothing. Nothing further. We would expect to be out this year, just in terms of timeliness. With
That
them
will
being
also be
news.
released with the 2019 subscribers gift. It's just going to be this enormous collection of stuff that they will
One can
announce,
hope.
and then you wait like forever to get it.
Yeah. So
People
it'll
are
be
still getting their
2020.
vinyls, by the way.
I know somebody tweeted the other day that they just got their vinyl. It was announced a year ago. Wow.
Oh yikes!
Better late than never. Look, I never got the little luggage tag thing from the very first year. I never did get that. So
So the
been waiting like 10 or 12 years for that.
well-oiled touring machine is not so much in the promotional delivery. Maybe if they at least just brought them along to the concerts and said, raise your hands wherever you are. We'll give you your fan club gift if you're in the audience somewhere.
Instead of confetti raining down, it's all the vinyl. Ow, ow, ow.
All right. At this train 9900 said, "Do we know if the recent vinyl reissues of Pop and All That You Can't Leave Behind are remastered? I believe Wide Awake in America is the 2009 remaster, but I'm not sure about those other two. Anybody know? Sherry, you know, I think.
Yes.
They're all remastered?
Yes.
Just short, quick answer. Okay. Awesome.
Well, we're up against the clock here, Chris. We've got a lot to talk about.
That's right. It's the band is coming on in 40 minutes. So
They're waiting for us too. So onus is on us to get the hell out of here.
we're just waiting for U2.com to tweet. As soon as that U2 finishes with the podcast, tonight's show will start.
Larry's huddled around a laptop, cracking his knuckles. We're like, they better get off. We've got a show to do.
Yeah.
I've got someone to punch.
Those feckers better get off. Okay.
Whoa!
That was not Potty Mouth McBoston.
That's not a,
Well,
that's
and
not a
you
potty
know,
mouth unless you're in Ireland, is it?
It wasn't Patty Mouth McBoston. That was the crass Canadian. Oh my god! Is that illegal to
We
talk
just want
like
to hear
that?
him say sorry, Mason.
Anyways, okay. For our roundtable tonight, we're going to talk, of course, about the tour. We have, actually, you know what? Let's just jump right into. We've got Jill, who was so at U2 has an Instagram account and Instagram.com/ATU2com, right? ATU2com. I think I said that right.
Yep.
And you can obviously follow them. And then on the Instagram stories, we handed the keys over to Jill, at U2 staffer Jill, with who was at the show, I think, with her dad, and was in some, I forget which section exactly she says in the show, but in the Instagram
303.
story. 303, represent. And so you can go, at least for another, it'll probably be there for another 10 minutes, I guess, or something like that. It'll drop off after 24 hours unless we saved it somewhere. But you can check that out. And I'm assuming that's something that we'll be doing from time to time in the future. Matt, is that Mr.
Yes.
Bossman?
Whenever Jill goes to a show, she's going to do that.
Oh, only Jill is allowed. Okay.
She's the only one that's volunteered. You know how it works around here. You volunteer for something, it's all yours. Take it away.
Sounds good. All right, but at the end of it, she gave a little sort of review of the show, and I thought we'd just include that here for viewers. You can watch the thing live on Twitch, and then also for the audio folks, of course, you'll hear the recording of it. So here we go, Jill.
Hi, so I am back from the show, and I was posting the Insta stories really, really fast tonight. Trying to keep up with 4 Irish guys. So they're all uploaded on the @U2 Instagram page, so please check them all out. Some just little notes from the show. American Soul hands down favorite song of the night. I've been kind of going back and forth between that and The Blackout, but American Soul, definitely on fire, wonderful, perfect. Also, being in a seat was really cool.
Oh, sorry, Jill. Where'd you go?
She fell off the stage, Chris.
Oh, no. Okay, I'm going to have to cut this out in the audio recording. We're going to start over one more time. We'll give it Jill another chance here. Sorry, Jill.
Hi, so I am back from the show, and I was posting the Insta stories really, really fast tonight, trying to keep up with 4 Irish guys. So they're all uploaded on the @YouTube Instagram page, so please check them all out. Some just little notes from the show. American Soul, hands down favorite song of the night. I've been kind of going back and forth between that and The Blackout, but American Soul, definitely on fire, wonderful, perfect. Also, being in a seat was really cool because under where they perform on the B stage or the E stage, whatever we're calling it, during certain songs, you could see like the graphics, and that was pretty interesting. Like during Staring at the Sun, underneath where Bono and Edge was graphic of the sun, and then it would turn into an eclipse. This was going towards the end of the song, and as they were going into the Charlottesville footage, so that was really interesting. And then at the end, for 13, when Bono is walking towards the end of the stage, and the graphics for that were like streets and like houses, so like the intersections of like Cedarwood Road. So that was all really like awesome to get the chance to see that from the seat. And best part about having a seat tonight, shocked, nobody cut in front of me to go to the bathroom or to go get a beer. So
Come back, Jill. Oh, no. Okay, let's all talk in for Jill. Try and fill in what she's saying. Try and guess.
Larry.
Glasses, handsome, Larry. Glasses, handsome.
There we go.
See? Larry Mullen Jr. See?
Real talk. Jill.
Clark Kent Mullen.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, Jill. Something
He's so
happened in
handsome.
the translation.
Good
but
job with the glasses.
That was a tease of what you could find on the at YouTube story. So, yeah. Anyways, the big thing, the news out of that Jill didn't actually see because she was up in the seats, was that Bono did fall down. We kind of joked about it at the beginning, and if you've seen, I'm sure by now you've probably seen clips of it, but we'll link to a video on YouTube in the show notes. But and show notes, by the way, in case you're curious what I mean by whenever I say that, goodstuff.fm in your browser /ATU2/82, and there'll be all the links to things we talk about in the episode, hopefully. But it actually was a pretty good tumble he took. Like we saw tweets about it happening and didn't see video or photos of it, and then until later, obviously. But it was a pretty good fall, I think. Especially
the crazy thing was when the tweets were coming in, we were trying to confirm that it had indeed happened because at least for me, I was getting conflicting information from somebody saying it was probably just a troll saying that it happened. Then I got another tweet saying, did I hear this right? Did Bono really fall? And so here, I think Matt was investigating it. I was investigating it. Tasula was doing the live tweet for the site. And we're pouring through all the periscopes that had already ended to try to find where it could have possibly happened. And there's this one periscope where it was sort of a faraway distance. Matt picked up on it. I did not. Where the spotlight just stopped shining on Bono, and that presumably was when he stepped back and just fell backwards. There was no safety harness. There's no padding. There's no nothing. He just went straight down. And then this morning when I woke up, some folks had posted their little videos from it, and it looked scary, but he just bounced right back. So either the bionic man and that German engineering has helped him over the years, or he takes a licking and keeps on ticking. I don't know, Matt. What do you think?
He's got so many like things fixed that he just like bounces off floors now. It's just it doesn't hurt at all. It was, I don't know. I mean, it was like he only fell like 3 or 4 stairs though, right? I mean, like because he's here and then he's
But
here.
he fell backwards.
Yeah, but it
He
was.
just went back.
I think he got a lucky bounce, is what. Because it could have gone. You can fall 3 feet, land on your head, and you're done or whatever too if you hit the right way.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I shouldn't downplay it like that. I'm just like mentally comparing it to Edge in Vancouver 3 years ago, and Edge in Vancouver 3 years ago looked a heck of a lot scarier to my eyes. So, but anyway, yeah. I mean, they they need to be careful. Jeez Louise. Wow.
But he did miss a beat. I mean, he got up. Shouldn't be here because I should be dead. Well, if there was ever a line to come back from, that would be it.
I'm sure afterwards they were like, there must have been some engineering meeting where they're like, should we put stairs or should we put a ramp? And they ended up, let's just do stairs. That'll be quicker, easier, whatever. And now they're
slip and slide next time.
We should have had a ramp, yeah. But yeah. So I
kept thinking about who was it? Peter Gabriel during one of his last tours was in one of those inflatable hamster balls, and that's all I could picture was like Bono in the barricade in the rubber hamster ball rolling back and forth, or maybe somebody tethering him with a bungee cord and it turns into a bungee run. That might be kind of fun.
Yeah. Mount Temple 4 in the chat room says forever the showman. And Dana Star 78 on Twitter asks, can we put Bono in a few hundred feet of bubble wrap? Might as well wrap all of them. Which is good. Just
gotta look where he's going.
Yeah. Wait,
he's the kind of guy who does
for Montreal
waves when he crosses the street. And it's just it's terrifying. But hey, in the videos that we saw, he was sort of laying there for a second. The security people didn't really earn their day's pay. So they just kind of looked around like, well, what are you going to do? I don't know. What are you going to do? I don't know. Probably fine. Then he just jumps back up and says, shouldn't be because I should be dead. And everyone's like, yeah, of course. Yeah, that makes sense. You shouldn't.
Yeah. His little smirk to the security guard.
Yeah, maybe he fell backwards and kind of bumped up his shoulder. But with all the metal that he's got in him, there's got to be like, you know how magnets work. If you hold them out, if you try to push them together, they can't quite touch because of science or something. So maybe that happened. I don't know.
Because of science or something. Yes.
I guess we all skipped that class in university.
Hey, I said in our Slack the entire concert the rest of the way, and he sounded fine, and he looked fine as far as I could tell. So
I'm guessing some sort of memo will be added to the tour rider where, if Bono or band member falls, then please try and help them up or something to the security or whatever's nearby. Just
if they had a sense of humor, they would put on one of those Stairmasters that like you see in the commercials. You sit down and kind of like guides you down.
Yeah, like the elevator thing for your chair. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, Febatini says in the chat room, there's no risky thing for a man who's determined to fall.
Yep.
Turned out okay this time. All right. So, any other thoughts on Chicago itself? Obviously, we're a half hour away from showtime right now for tonight. Expecting something different from the set tonight, one would assume.
Well, just real quick is that we've gotten a lot of questions about this particular topics, and I can't imagine people are not going to be curious about it. Today at Chicago 2, around I want to say 3:30, maybe 4. Bono, Edge, and Adam all came out to the loading dock to sign stuff, take pictures, say hi to fans. So still no Larry, but if you go out there when you want to see a band member, odds are you should be able to see one of them depending on how they're doing throughout the day. So just thought I'd throw that in.
Yeah, we often get questions about how to get autographs and when to show up and things like that. And so, I just got to find the loading dock area, delivery area, look for a bunch of people lined up that aren't going into the arena kind of thing.
Yeah. They're being very consistent.
So. Yeah.
They were practicing Red Flag Day. Whether or not we'll see that tonight, normally a show 2, they'll switch out 1 or 2 songs. But this set list has been pretty consistent, give or take. And that seems to be, a good debate point. Either people like the consistency or they feel that U2's got such a large group of songs, why are they limiting themselves? And this is a tour that it's all about the storytelling, and there's not too many songs that can be interplayed the way that they've got it set up. And I know that Matt, you had an opinion on that.
Well, yeah, I did. I tweeted some stuff like, oh, I don't know what, 4 or 5 days or a week or so ago. It's not. I mean, it is a debate, and it's not just a debate that fans are having because, like I said, and I'm not going to name drop or anything, but when we were in Vegas and I was lucky enough to bump into some of the people that surround the band and do this or that for them, it's sort of a debate that they're having as well. I was told specifically that they are wondering if there's if there's enough spontaneity during the course of the show, and is there room to go veer off in a different direction if they feel like doing that. And some are arguing that they should make some changes to to add more space for that, and others are saying this is the production and let's tell the story and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I think the indoor tour 3 years ago had more room for, more breathing room. And that's kind of what I said on Twitter, is that it does feel like once you get past that first 6 or 7 songs, once they get to, what is it, The Ocean, which leads into Iris, you pretty much know what's coming the rest of the show. And I think it's a great show. I love the show. And I'd gladly go to to more. I'm done with my schedule, at least for now. But I'd gladly go to more. I'm not complaining. But yeah, it's very fixed. It's like the Zoo TV tour when they had a set list that they played pretty much constantly for several weeks in a row. Then they'd switch up a song here, and then they'd play that set list for a couple 3 weeks in a row. And so, yeah, I wonder if, how that sort of tension is going to play out. If there's some that think they need to mix things up more, or just like open some space for the opportunity, versus those that think that, no, we got to stick to this story that we want to tell. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
The difference with Zoo TV was it still felt like it was a concert. They weren't putting on theater. And this particular tour in 2018 feels like it's a theatrical production.
Right.
I mean, certainly the lessons that they learned doing the Spider-Man musical are certainly carrying over. And I've seen comments on some of the social channels that I didn't come for theater, I came for a concert.
And
that's where it's getting mixed reviews.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's always been the way with them. They've always had this thing. Yeah, I mean, U2 has never been a band to just get on stage and play 20 songs at random. They've never done that. There's always a beginning, middle, and end to their shows, and there's always this theatrical production. But no, you're right. It's this tour, in that sort of balance between theater versus rock show and production versus spontaneity. It's really bent over towards the production side this time.
We've got 20 viewers right now live, and so if you're listening in the chat room and want to participate a little bit here, just throw in a comment if you've seen the show, I guess. Are you happy with the way it is, or do you wish it was more open-ended? Just curious what sort of take the barometer of the folks who are listening live right now anyways. You can also tweet at us, like I said, at U2, or using the hashtag AskAtU2, and that'll get into the show in the future. Go ahead.
And I'll just, I mean, you just jogged my memory because you mentioned it being more open-ended. That was one of the topics that came up in these sort of conversations I had, was that if you go back to last year's tour, the Joshua Tree tour, some of the best shows were when they just spontaneously ended the show with an extra song or two. And it just, changed the whole vibe and all this sort of stuff. And with the way the show is now with 13 and Bono walks off the stage, that's it. There's no, like, what's he going to do? Walk off and... there's no opportunity for that kind of magical moment at the end of the show that you had a lot of, relatively speaking, a lot of, but you had several times during the Joshua Tree tour. So go ahead.
And the songs from Songs of Experience that they did play during the Joshua Tree tour, they're either not doing, or they've mixed up the production of it, which is also thrown off of some of the folks who are expecting to hear little things that give you away, or the all electric version of "You're the Best Thing About Me." They weren't expecting to have those changes, seeing as those songs were the ones teased during the Joshua Tree tour last year.
Yeah, that's at Ken Cunningham 3 had mentioned as a comment or complaints about the set list legitimate, and then question mark, and then proceeds to sort of complain about the set list a bit. He says, "I would like to see Raised by Wolves and 13 replaced, but overall I like it." So I guess your wish list was answered in terms of Raised by Wolves has sort of been dropped. We'll see what happens tonight. And I hope Red Flag Day also stays and bring back Exit and bring back the fans on stage, which that's another whole controversial kind of topic as to whether, I know in our U2 Slack anyways, if anybody mentions let's bring the fans back on stage, then there's the vocal for and the vocal against that sort of pile in on that. So I'm sure everybody has opinions on that. As I've said before, my case or my opinion on that is as long as it's me that's brought up on stage, I'm fine with it, but anybody else should not be up on stage. So that's my
perfect.
Argue with me all you want, but I'm gonna stick by that one. I think we answered this in the last episode, but I thought just in case, at Inherit the Land, I love the U2 and the Tulsa show, but it seemed like guitars were really loud compared to Bono's voice. Did we do that one already? Matt, I feel like I'm having deja vu.
We kind of talked. I think we had I don't know if it was that exact one. We had a similar question about the audio mix and that sort of thing.
And how was I guess you were at more recent shows, Mason. You were at
just the one. I think I was the one who made the Tulsa comment. How okay. When they got to Love Is Bigger, I just couldn't hear any nuance, and I just guitar. And I just think that's a venue problem. That's I love the BOK. The BOK was great. It was good to me, but it's not the greatest concert venue. But when they get to a place like Chicago or LA or New York, where they're kind of a bit more up to snuff, it'll be fine. But and also it's loud, so if you have hearing issues, it might sound a little weird. But
I thought the sound in Vegas was probably better than it was in Tulsa. Now that I think about it, but I had little earplugs, not earplugs, but like tissue paper or whatever in my ears for all the shows, and so that I thought like the people that were complaining about things being too loud, the earplug thing helped me a lot, so it made it sound great for what it's worth.
You can laugh, Mason, but you'll be doing the same thing in 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm invincible. I'll never die.
Yeah.
I'm awesome.
Chat room update. Sue says, I wish there was a better encore, but prefers the theater. Mount Temple says, I saw Tulsa and loved it. Caught most on Periscope. Have tickets for 11 more shows. I love surprises, but I'm happy regardless. Fabatini said, I don't see a problem in a fixed set list. And then, we got a show title suggestion for a tissue paper. So there you go.
For someone named Dog Burps.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's me.
That's Kyle. Yeah.
One of the nice things that they have been changing up is the Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me video. You've been having some updates to it. So, like in Tulsa, all of the U2 related symbols that we all have come to know and love on the album art and on t-shirts and stuff like that. I believe they started off as either gray or silver, and now they're either a shiny gold, or like the Vertigo target is now red. A friend of mine had posted a photo of the disco ball lemon that's all shiny now. You've got all the city specific things like with the stretch limousine or lights of home. There's an image of the satellite of that particular city, and same thing with City of Blinding Lights. There's the skyline of that particular city. So at least they're putting in elements of hello Cleveland.
Yeah, it's their Spinal Tap
thing,
sort of moment.
Production type stuff is definitely changing. Like even from Tulsa to Vegas, there were several changes on the screen and all that I noticed. And it looks like in some of the videos in the recent shows that they're making and correct me if I'm wrong, but feels like to me they're making the whole MRI thing a lot more visible and more expressed, or what, more obvious, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Like some of those visuals that I've seen in the last couple shows, it's like that's pretty plainly evident, like medical imagery on the screen, which I think you kind of had to, maybe take a little guess the first couple shows.
Yeah, and that's definitely a brain that they are showing MRI images of. And then the question becomes with the imaging during the blackout, when you've got the shadows of the bodies up there, if those are also imaging of the chest cavity as opposed to the brain cavity. So we've got some of our crackerjack medical folks who follow us have been sending us updates on that.
I mean, all the stuff, or a lot of the stuff that the video team and the production team, they can sit around all day and work on these new visuals and all that sort of stuff. It's I guess the debate is over the stuff that involves the band and what they're wanting to do. So.
Yeah, Mount Temple in chat says, "Will the one video ever return?" One wonders. Which is like
please.
Last episode we sort of heard the tease that it might sort of be returning in some form, but not within the one section or whatever. But as of yet, hasn't returned. And you sort of wonder the production workflow of how that is. Like, someone probably gets an idea for, hey, I wonder if this visual would work better, and then they have to like show it to Larry, sort of nervously bring their laptop to Larry and say, "Hello, Mr. Mullen Jr. I just wonder if maybe this could work here." And he like smashes
Then he
the
kicks
laptop
it across the room. Yeah.
throws his tea on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think with regards to the visuals, I do think they are taking a bit of a less is more approach in some ways. Like, I think, if memory serves, Love is Bigger Than Anything in its way was toned down a little bit. I remember there being some visual thing. One, of course, is turned into a sea of cell phone lights. Remember when we used to have lighters? They can't do that these days.
You're not old enough to remember that.
I meant to say they, not we, but yeah.
Everybody's thumb tips got burnt. I remember that in '92.
Hey, it happens. But
What
I
were
think
you doing in '92?
We should do a segment. We should do a segment where Mason asks us old folks what it was like back in the day.
So somebody tell me what a Rolodex is.
I don't even know what a Rolodex is.
Is that like a context list that you don't have on your phone? What's up with that? But
Well, the cassette player had to get shoved somewhere.
Oh, right. But jumping back a little bit to the set list questions, because this is obviously something that not everybody's ever going to be happy about a set list, but I do think that they have definitely an opportunity at the beginning of the encore, because that's pretty obviously, when you go to a show, the moment when people say, all right, well, I'm going to go beat traffic. Which is too bad, because Love is Bigger Than Anything in its way and 13 are great songs and great experiences, but the encore itself doesn't have the punch that an encore usually does. And I still say that Bad is a big enough song that hasn't been played like it's a big enough song that you could slide it in there and kind of throw some red meat and keep people happy and say, oh, well, Bad was in there and I love Bad. And I think people would be happy. 'Cause if you don't want to bring out the Joshua Tree, I think that's your next best bet. But
I was wondering about that today too, just looking at some of the GA video. I forget somebody, wherever I saw it on YouTube, but from up, maybe it was Jill's video too. But like, the last few songs, and people are walking out the doors. You can see it sort of emptying in certain areas. Like, you've paid $200 or whatever dollars for this show, and you're more concerned. And maybe you have to get to work right away or whatever. People have lives, but like, you're more concerned about the extra 20 minutes in traffic than actually seeing the whole show. And like people wait after the credits for a Marvel movie that they've paid $10 for just to see some clip of like Stan Lee doing something funny or whatever. Like, this is,
But Chris, that's the argument over, did U2 or Live Nation price this tour so that only folks who can afford those types of tickets, who don't really care whether or not they stay for the whole show or not. I mean, I remember MSG back in 2015. There were a whole bunch of suits down on the floor who wanted to leave during every breaking wave to go and get drinks outside of MSG. And meanwhile, you've got others who are really a lot more passionate about the band who couldn't afford to get in there. So Live Nation's decisions created the audience dynamic that we're seeing, and I'm sure tonight at Chicago too. I haven't looked online because we've been recording, but I'm sure that there's going to be areas that are going to be draped off, sections that were shifted because the tickets just never sold. I mean, today at 4 this afternoon, you could still get $106 tickets or $41 tickets. They had dropped those ticket prices down tremendously.
But Sherry, wasn't it a sold out? Wasn't it sold out? Isn't that what they said?
Last night, they claimed it was, but Jill's reporting was that there were entire rows empty up in the nosebleeds. So it all depends on what they want to consider a sellout. If there's still an empty seat and it's not held by production, then it's not really a sellout. But I'm a stickler for
those people probably left right away. They actually came and then left just to beat traffic.
What? There's no opening act. I'm out.
Yeah.
I just really love that Noel Gallagher song. All right, see you later.
Exactly.
It's not just the pricing though. It's the fact that a lot of these shows are on weeknights. It's the fact that the school year is still going on. A lot of people our age want to bring their kids to the shows. So, and it's the fact that the show starts at 8, but U2 doesn't go on until 8:30, or as is the case in Chicago 1, where they had the technical problems, they weren't on until 3 minutes before 9. And it's a long show that runs 2 hours and 15, 20 minutes.
And the screen is hard to see.
And you add all this stuff up, and I think it's inevitable that you're going to get a certain percentage of the people leaving at 11 o'clock, whether the show is over or not.
But that said, though, Bono has been doing a good job in getting the crowd to sing the whoa oh 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 ohs at the end of Love is Bigger Than Anything in Its Way. I mean, listening in on the streams, you've got the whole arena singing that going into 13. So there is some audience interaction as far as the art of the callback goes, but I don't think that they're strong enough songs to entice people to hang around.
Yeah, I credit them for having the guts or the bravery or whatever you want to call it to like keep plowing through with that thematic ending, because it does. You sort of, if you're on stage and you can see that people are leaving, like Edge or whoever, you can definitely see that from this stage, and you can see if people are staring up at you with blank faces or looking down at their phones or heading for the exits or whatever. But I wonder if it's just not a big enough ending, like whether it's the song or the production, and I haven't been there yet, so I can't say from experience, but it's just not a big enough feeling ending to feel like the show is over, like, because it feels like U2 would have a big explosive, not fireworks maybe, but like some sort of big ending, like we've said. So, yeah, 13
is definitely one of the more low-key ends that they've had. I mean, just thinking back to 360, Moment of Surrender to some people is kind of maybe along the same lines as 13 in that it's a deep cut from an album that wasn't a single and all that, but it was a pretty big sounding song. The choruses and the piano and Bono's rap at the end, it felt like, oh, Moment of Surrender, this is like a big moment. He did the clapping and all that. 13, like I said, it's a lullaby. It's kind of supposed to put you to sleep, I guess, is in a way of saying. And I don't know. To them, I think they need to weigh, and I'm sure they're having these conversations, but they need to decide, can we tack on something right after 13 that puts a bow on the show without kind of trampling over Cedarwood Road, trampling over the house, like to people where people still can understand the symbolism of taking the light out while also leaving the show saying, wow, that was one heck of an ending or something. I don't know what song they have that could do that.
I'm sure lots of people are shouting at their podcast players saying, well, if they're on Cedarwood Road, then the obvious next song would be to play Where the Streets Have No Name, because we're leaving Cedarwood Road. And then everybody can be happy because we get Where the Streets Have No Name. There's a thematic connection there, and we're all good. Everybody's good. But
I'm thinking like Out of Control, maybe something like that.
it just feels like they don't want to send everybody off with that good, big, happy vibe rock song. They want to leave people thinking or something. But
Well, that's where the production is overweighing the vibe, the rock vibe. They want this show to end exactly how the last tour started, but in reverse, with Bono walking off the stage after swinging the light, whereas in 15 he walked on the stage alone and started swinging the light. So it's all that's the production overshadowing the rock and roll.
right.
And what's
which brings us
also
all back
odd
around.
is everybody's focus is on Bono over on the E stage walking off. So Adam, Larry, and Edge are just go, oh, sod it. I'm just going to, nobody's cheering really because there's a lot of people stunned in the audience thinking, is this it? How do you cheer at the end of 13? So, it just feels like we as fans are being robbed of that opportunity at the end of the show to really say, encore, encore, or woo, or whatever. You get that? I'm saving my voice for Uniondale. Woo. But you know what I mean, though? I mean, all that cheering comes at the end of City of Blinding Lights, and they all take their bows and they come back for the encore. But the way that it ends, you don't get that final goodbye. You get a quick saunter off the stage, and then they do runners. So
Yeah, I'm sure this is the.
It's just a weird ending, but
This is
it's
the
very
Larry
similar
approved.
to Love Is Blindness.
Yeah. Yeah, that one I don't know. I didn't experience live, so I can't say. It felt very good on the Zoo TV video that I watched, the concert of it, but I can't say how it would feel like in the stadium. But even there, at least you had the whole band on stage at the end, I would assume. And Mount Temple in the chat said maybe if people listen to the album, that would help, which is always the case whenever you have new songs on a concert stage. I was going to say, I think this is like the Larry approved ending because he gets to leave. Bono does his little thing, and Larry, Adam can get into their kimonos and their whatever Larry dresses in.
The bathrobes
Larry
aren't
in a
going to wear
kimono,
themselves.
Oh my God.
Exactly. I actually was thinking you brought up the runner, Sherry, which is like their term for when they have to like leave the venue as quickly as possible to get to the next city. But what is the hurry for when, like, I understand
Because
if
they don't
have,
want to be stuck in traffic.
yeah, I guess, but like
Or
they have to
Tulsa,
hurry to
for
get
that
to the
matter.
airport. Yeah. And I get to the snobbery maybe, but like there's 3 or 4 days between shows. Wouldn't you rather just like chill back at your hotel for that night and then fly out in the morning? I don't know. I'm sure there's some tax reason or something. If they're in a city too long, they pay
Ta-da!
more.
Ta-da! You got it.
There you go.
If they're in this, there's something to do with if your work goes past midnight, you're still whatever. Yeah, there's something to do with that. So.
And I'm sure it saves them. It's not just $10,000 or something. I'm sure there's like a huge chunk of change they'd have to leave in city taxes or something if they do something like that. So, because even I noticed from Tulsa, like Neil McCormick had an interview with the band on the way to the airport or on the way to the plane, and like his last photo on his Instagram story or whatever was like the plane of them leaving, and he's taking the cab back to his hotel or whatever. So, speaking of the cities where we're in and all that kind of stuff, Grown Men's asked, where should we all go for pre-show drinks in Nashville? My liver eagerly awaits your answer. So that's the next show on May 26th, sorry. And I don't have the answer. I don't know where you go.
I've
David
never been
Buster.
to Nashville.
What's that, Mason?
And I don't drink alcohol, so I can't help you.
I suggested Dave and Buster's because it's it's drinks and it's fun and games. So
Is that like I don't know the reference, but we'll.
get some skee ball in before you too. Come on.
Okay.
All right, we're about 5 minutes from showtime. If if the
Oh
band's
yes,
going
we
live.
should check. We should thank you two for having us at part of their tour. What else do opening acts always do?
We'd like to
been
thank all
great
the
working with
streamers and the
you, too.
periscopers.
Yeah. Larry just hit me back with a thumbs up emoji, so they're ready to go.
Okay, so it's good. Other things that are coming up besides the Nashville show, where you at Grown Men's, you can tweet at him if you want to tell him where everybody's going for pre-show drinks in Nashville. But the U2 conference that Sherry mentioned, u2conference.com, is coming up.
Registration's still open.
There we go. And also the Montreal stop, which is after the Nashville stop, is happening, and that's for the band U2. There's just announced, and this often happens in other cities. I'm just aware of it because I'm going to Montreal. So Acrobat, the tribute band, and December, the band from Scotland that we've had on the show back on episode 67, is going to be in Montreal performing on the Monday night before the show. So link to the Eventbrite tickets and stuff. I think there's $10 beforehand or $15 at the door. And U2 Songs is doing an event as well. Somebody put in the notes that I'll throw to if you have more details.
Yeah, I saw some tweets about it. I mean, I'm not going to Montreal, so I don't bother paying attention to the details. But they have some kind of event going on after the first show.
Cool.
So
yeah, and if you're going to be in Montreal, Twitter message me or whatever. I'm going to hopefully try and get to the December show for sure, like the Acrobat December show, just to see those guys there and then be at the show as well.
are you GA or seats?
I am GA, so for both.
So we are going to record the next podcast 2 weeks from tonight while you're on the GA floor.
Right. Yeah, we'll do it live from the show. I'll just bring my iMac.
Just bring
actually,
the whole
I'm
setup.
sure someone from production there will help me out.
Yeah, no, easily.
Speaking of which, I don't know if anybody else has ever. If you've ever used a computer to produce something that other people are watching, like say in a church service or I don't know, like a kid's presentation, a Christmas thing or whatever, and you have like a video that's going to play off your computer on a big screen that everyone's going to watch, and like I get nervous hives doing that. And I saw somebody's Instagram story or video, whatever it was, of like a view from above the production seat at the U2 show, and it's just a computer that's playing, might be Final Cut Pro they're editing in or whatever it is, Keynote, something that's playing what's on their computer onto the big huge screen. And like somehow it feels like it should be a more robust thing, but it's just like a dude's laptop that's showing what we're all seeing, and like he hits the space bar wrong and technical difficulties, I guess, like in Chicago. So I get nervous enough with this little thing we got going on here on our live stream, but at least nobody's going to be too disappointed with their free tickets to this show. So anyways, where can folks find you guys on Twitter if they want to disagree or agree or otherwise? Sherry, I'll start with you.
I'm over at U2Com Sherry as always.
And Mason?
Not Mason Merritt, which I'm not.
So mysterious. Matt?
At Matt McGee on the Twitter machine.
Verified Matt McGee.
What? You got verified? How'd you do that?
Got the check mark.
Oh, man.
The magic blue check mark, yep.
That means you're a Nazi, right? Is that how it works on Twitter now? No, I'm just kidding. We'll just leave that. That's our 13 moment. No, you can follow Twitter or follow at U2 on Twitter, twitter.com/ATU2, facebook.com/ATU2com, and instagram.com/ATU2com. Like I said, if you quickly go there right now, you can maybe catch the end of Jill's story from Chicago 1 and then jump right into whatever's happening on Chicago 2 as we end our recording. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. Thanks for
Over to
tuning
you,
in.
U2.
See you next time on the At U2 Podcasts. All right.
Sula, the pre-show Montreal party's in our calendar. Read at u2.com.
I don't ever visit the website. I don't do things like that. Oh, there we go. Here, let's see. Since I'm just gonna put a little marker in the. Let's just see if anybody's their Periscope streams happen. If you all want to, you can leave if you want. I'm just gonna see.
I need to. My dog is sitting here looking at me angrily because his dinner time was 30 minutes ago, and I'm the only one home right now.
Well, at least it's not his bladder that was supposed to be.
Well, that's the other thing I'm a little worried about because he's been inside all afternoon because it's like 95 here today. So, anyway, peace, you guys.
Adios. Thanks, Matt.
Night, Matt.
All right,
Thanks.
see you guys.
All right, where's the stadium?
Okay,
Not
looks
those
like
ones.
Vid's Mixler's live. mixlr.com/mysterious days.
Help me out here. Where's the stadium in Chicago?
It should be number 1 there. It should be right on the
Or the red
water,
ones?
shouldn't it?
I think it's a little bit more inland.
I normally just do a search for U2 or Chicago. I
Yeah.
I don't
I gotta
go
say,
to
if you
Napster.
ever Periscope stream, it is pretty fun. There's some
sure it's
weirdos out there, you guys.
Oh, like
I
what
don't
people
like
are
That's what I-
playing
saying.